A secret he'll take to the grave. When this guy was a kid, his school had this huge field day event that they did every single year. Basically, on this day, students were free to roam around the school, there were games, prizes, it was incredible. Everyone looked forward to it, but one year, everything changed. On field day, he was grabbing some lunch in the cafeteria. He was messing around with a friend when they saw a little basket of butter packets. He picked it up, put it on the floor, and stepped on it. Well, when he stepped on it, the packet popped and the butter shot across the lunchroom like a rocket, sliding on the floor. Dude, that was sick. Let's do it again. They kept stepping on these butter packets one after another, launching the butter across the floor and giggling to themselves. Hee hee hee, this is so fun. Right? Well, apparently all this butter had accumulated some feet in front of them in this kind of butter pile. And a teacher who was carrying a tray ended up walking right over it. I love field day. This is a great day. He crashed down hard and his tray of food went everywhere. Another teacher ran over. Oh my God, are you okay? No, I'm not okay. He was not okay. Something was seriously wrong. An ambulance was called and he was shipped out. Well, apparently this teacher was injured really badly. It was serious. Field day was shut down then and there. And the next day, the principal got on the intercom. Attention students, due to an unfortunate incident, field day will be canceled indefinitely. We are launching an investigation into the events of yesterday's lunch. And that's when it hit him. Because of their stupid butter pack launching lunchtime, field day was canceled. What does that mean for next year? Well, I'll tell you what it means. There wasn't a field day next year. Or the year after that. He was never caught for what he did. And I guess the cameras in the lunchroom didn't pick up on this at all. This kid got blamed for something he didn't do. This one day at this one high school, during their free period, a kid was eating lunch outside by the football field, while a couple of students were kicking and throwing around a football. This kid, let's call him Steven, was sitting nearby. He wasn't playing, he was just eating his lunch. Suddenly, go long! Crash. One of the football players accidentally threw the football at the school window and it shattered. A teacher comes sprinting out of the building. Hey yo, who threw that? Everyone's frozen. Then one kid pointed to Steven. It was him. He kicked it. What? I wasn't even playing. But the teacher was already on the walkie-talkie. We got a broken window. Student responsible has been identified. Come with me. Steven is dragged to the office. They pull up security footage, but the camera angle cuts off right before the area where Steven was eating and they were playing, so it was useless. So, they just take the other kid's word for it. Steven gets 2 days of in-school suspension, and he has to pay $147 to fix the window. And the worst part? 2 weeks later, the kid that blamed him brags about it in the locker room. Yeah, I just didn't want to get in trouble and Steven was sitting there anyway. It was perfect. One kid heard it, went to the office to tell the principal. You'd think they would apologize, right? Nope. They just said, yeah, well, the case has already been handled. It's done, so nothing to do about it now. But thanks for letting me know, eh? And that's the dumbest reason I've seen anybody get into trouble ever. Justice for Steven, man. That ain't right. This petty principal sucks. One day at this high school, a student came into class 10 minutes late. His first period, he was still rubbing the sleep out of his eyes. Well, the principal just so happened to be doing classroom check-ins that morning. In that classroom. You're late, Anthony. Why? I missed the bus. I ran here. I'm so sorry. Not good enough. Come with me. She pulls him out in the hallway and just starts laying into him, but she didn't close the classroom door, so that entire class was watching, like, what the heck? You think the world's gonna care? You show up late to a job, you're done. You show up late to college, they drop you. Life's not gonna babysit you, Anthony. Anthony stays quiet. Then she says, maybe if you got your life together, you would stop showing up late. That's when Anthony finally let loose. You want to talk about getting my life together? I get up at 5 a.m. to get my little brother ready for school because nobody else will. I pack his lunch and make sure he eats. I try to make the bus, but if I miss it, I run here as fast as I can. So don't stand there and talk to me like I'm just some lazy kid. No, you want to lecture somebody? Why don't you start with yourself? At least I'm showing up and still doing something that matters. I'm not just clocking in for a paycheck and going home to a life I hate. If being a bitter old hag was a subject, you'd be an A+ student. Now get out of my face. Dead silent classroom, dead silent hallway. One student in the classroom whispered, ain't no way she's coming back from that. Ain't no way. From that day on, Anthony was a legend, and the principal, well, she stopped doing classroom check-ins in that class. Good for him. My name is Mike, and today's my first day at a new school. Oh, I forgot to mention I'm a bully, and I plan to be the biggest bully here. Are you a bully? Yeah, are you? Yeah, today's my first day. I'm Mike. Hey, I'm Chad. Nice to meet you, man. So, who's easy pickings around here? I love to bully that guy. How about that dude? That's Kyle. I wouldn't bully him if I were you. It's not worth it. Yeah, right, it's always worth it. I'm gonna bully him right now. Hey, loser. Who are you? I'm Mike. I'm the new bully here, and I'm gonna make your life a living hell. Oh, really? Just like how you make your parents' life a living hell? Oh, I'm sorry, should I say parent? I'm sure your mom doesn't even know who your dad is. Wait, what? You donkey-looking, big-head, hat-wearing fool. I bet you eat cereal with water because your dad never came home with the milk. You suck, man. Well, you suck more, for less. I told you, bro. I miss my old school. This teacher had the weirdest rule. So this kid, let's call him David. He was in middle school, and this one teacher had a lot of weird rules, but one rule stood out to be the most weird. At the end of every class, students were required to shake this teacher's hand before leaving. Every single day. It didn't matter if you were sick, your hands were sweaty, or you were holding all your books, you had to shake this teacher's hand. And now David, like a lot of others, thought that this was the dumbest rule ever. Like, why is this even a thing? Creep. Well, one day he decided to test it. Alright, class is over, the bell rings, everyone's lining up to shake this person's hand like he's the dang president. When it got to David, he just walked right past. Excuse me, David. Yeah, what do you think you're doing, man? I'm leaving, man. Not until you follow the rule like everybody else. I'm not shaking your hand, you weird... The whole class goes silent. The teacher, fuming. He walks to the door and he blocks it. Well, if that's the case, you're not leaving. You weird. Now David's stuck. He can't just leave, and the entire class is watching this entire thing go down. David sighs. He slowly reaches out his hand. Fine. Goes in for a handshake. That's right. Now as their hands are about to touch, David inhales and fakes a ginormous sneeze. Spit goes all over this teacher's face. You know, everybody just get out of the classroom now. Just go. The next day, the rule was gone. I guess the teacher tried talking to the principal, but the principal told him that it was kind of creepy in the first place to make all your students shake your hand before leaving class. I agree. So this girl had just turned 16 years old, and all she wanted was a simple birthday dinner. Not a party, no gifts, just one dinner with her family. Her parents promised. Oh, of course, sweetie, we'll go out tonight anywhere you want. Any place at all. I'm so excited. Thank you. She was so excited. She got dressed up, picked out a restaurant, and waited for them to be ready. Except they weren't ready at all. They kept saying stuff like,
just a minute, honey. We're finishing something, sweetie. Just 1 minute.
She was frustrated, but she tried to be patient. So she stopped rushing them, because surely when they were ready, they would tell her. Well, an hour passed, then 2. Finally, she walked downstairs, and she saw her family eating takeout in the living room without her. What's going on? Oh, hi, honey. We got really busy, so we decided just to order in. You can have some if you want. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's really good. She just stood there. They could have cared less about her birthday dinner. And the worst part is they didn't even realize how much this hurt her. She felt humiliated. So without saying a word, she went into her mom's purse, took out some cash, put her coat on, and walked out the door. Luckily, the restaurant was pretty close to her house, so she walked there. She walked to that restaurant alone, without her family, because, well, you know. She gets in, she sits down, she orders her favorite meal. The server was really nice. So, how was everything? It was really good. Thank you so much. Are you celebrating anything? Yeah, it's actually my birthday. Oh my gosh, happy birthday! I got something for you, 1 sec. The waiter walks away and comes back with a tiny cake and a candle in it. She was flattered. This was the nicest someone's been to her all day. A few minutes later, she asked for the check. The waiter said, oh, don't worry, you're all good. This lovely couple over here paid for you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. She was almost brought to tears. That moment meant more to her than anyone would ever know. Well, she then went home, went to bed, and didn't say a word to her family. But from that day on, she stopped expecting anything from them. And on her next birthday, she didn't even tell her family that it was her birthday at all. Her family didn't even remember anyway. That's messed up. When this dude was in 7th grade, there was a kid in his class named Lucas. And Lucas was a menace. He bullied people, threw stuff across the room, caused ruckus, and he'd never got in trouble. Or if he did, he just didn't care. Well, one day during class, Lucas grabbed this kid's backpack and dumped everything on the floor. Oops. Looks like you gotta pick that up. The teacher looked up, sighed, and then went back to her book. Well, the kid was furious. Miss, are you really not gonna do anything about this? I mean, I could punish him, but he doesn't care. He'll just do it again tomorrow. It's not worth my time. The whole class was shocked. Lucas smirked. See? She doesn't care what I do. Actually, I don't care what any of you do. She then closed her book, walked to the door, and left the classroom. But right before she left, she looked at the kid that Lucas had been bullying, and she gave a very tiny wink. She closed the door behind her. The class sat in stunned silence. But the person that the teacher winked at knew what that meant. He stood up. Then another kid. And then another, until half the classroom was standing up looking at Lucas. So, she doesn't care what any of us do, huh? Lucas's smirk disappeared. Guys? Nah. No teacher, no rules. Remember last week when you dumped my lunch on the floor? And when you took my homework and ripped it up? And when you called me and my brother an idiot? Looks like it's our turn now, Lucas. Lucas was pale and the entire class slowly moved in on him. And when the teacher finally came back in, Lucas was huddling in a corner, shaking. She smiled. So, what happened when I was gone? Nobody said a word. That's what I thought. From that day forward, Lucas started being much nicer to his classmates. I wonder why. This teacher had a secret drawer. When this guy was in 7th grade, his teacher did this weird thing. She had one drawer in her desk that she'd never opened. She'd grab pencils, papers, even her coffee mug from all the other drawers, but that one drawer, she would never touch. One day while she was out sick, that class had a substitute. And in the middle of a lesson, that sub needed a stapler. I need a stapler, okay. So she went over to the desk and started opening drawers. Grabbed a few things and then she got to the forbidden drawer and she opened it. Well, the students noticed her open this drawer. Oh, what is this? Inside the drawer was a McDonald's bag, perfectly intact. The sub went into the bag and pulled out a medium-sized McDonald's fry. What in the world? It looked normal, like it was just bought yesterday. How long has this been in there? I don't know, miss, but honestly, I would leave it. And she did. She put that right back in the drawer and closed it. The next day, the teacher was back, and everybody was dying to know what was up with those french fries. I hope you guys had a great day yesterday. Yes, I'm feeling much better. Hey, miss? Oh, yeah, Carlos. Why do you have McDonald's fries in your drawer? The teacher just smirked. Because they never rot. I bought them 5 years ago. 5 years, holy crap, the class was horrified. But they look completely normal. Exactly. That's why I keep them. It's my little experiment. Food should not look like that after 5 years. In that class for the rest of the year, whenever somebody brought up McDonald's or talked about food in general, she would pull out those 5-year-old McDonald's fries, just to make a point how bad fast food is for you. This teacher is a monster. So this kid, Ethan, was in 1st grade when he learned his teacher had the worst punishment ever. In this class, the teacher had something called the isolation box. It was a tiny old school desk shoved in the corner of the room, in between a bookshelf and a filing cabinet. And if you got sent there, you had to squeeze into the desk, and the teacher would block you in by pulling the filing cabinet to be flush with the bookcase. So essentially, you'd be stuck in this box. Now, Ethan thought this was like weird and pretty messed up, but he never really questioned it, till one day it happened to him. He was talking during quiet time when the teacher snapped, "Ethan! Oh, I'm so sorry. Go to the box now." Once Ethan sits down, she drags the filing cabinet to lock him in. Now, Ethan figured he'd be in there for 5 minutes, tops. But the lesson continued. 5 minutes passed, then 10 minutes, then 20 minutes. Ethan tried to move his legs, he was cramping, but there was no space. He tried to move in his chair, but he couldn't. He was wedged in there pretty good. That's when he realized he was actually stuck. I'm actually stuck. He tried talking. I think I can't get out. but no response. It's as if the entire class was ignoring him. Finally, the bell rang. He thought he was free, but no. Apparently, the entire class left, and so did the teacher. Help me, somebody! 10 more minutes pass. The teacher walks in the room and hears him yelling, "Oh my God." Well, that's what happens when you don't follow the rules. Now go on. Ethan left the classroom, traumatized. Fast forward 15 years, Ethan is still living in the same town, but he has an incredible job and he's making fantastic money. One morning, he was heading to the office when he wanted to get some coffee. So he pulled up to the local coffee shop. Yeah, I'm gonna get a large caramel cappuccino, Mrs. Johnson. Ethan, hi. Oh yeah, one cappuccino. He just smiles. And as she hands him his coffee, "Here you go." He grabs it and then grabs her hand. "Am I following the rules now, Mrs. Johnson? Am I following the rules now?" Good coffee. He tips her a $20 bill and he leaves. Have a nice life. This kid named Matt was spending the night at his friend's house for the first time. They had been best friends since the start of the year, but he had actually never stayed at his house before. Everything was pretty normal at first. Pizza, video games, all that. Before bed, the dad walks into their room and says, "All right, boys, remember, no flushing the toilet after 10 p.m., okay?" Matt just laughs. He thinks the guy's joking. "This ain't no joke, son. I'm serious. If you have to go, go, but don't flush until morning." Then he just walks out. What's that about, dude? "Yeah, man, my dad's really strict about the water bill. He says flushing at night's a waste." "Bro, what if I gotta dump one?" "You just don't, okay?" Alright, weird, but whatever. Matt and this kid go to sleep. Fast forward to 2 a.m. Matt wakes up, and of course, he's gotta go to the bathroom. He tries to hold it, but it's impossible. His stomach is rumbling, if you catch my drift. But finally, he sneaks out of bed. He heads to the bathroom. He's extra quiet. He does his business and then stands up. When he stands up and looks into the toilet, he's debating. Should I flush or not? There's literal in there. He's gonna flush. This is stupid. Big mistake. Within seconds, he hears footsteps. Fast footsteps. Coming straight for the bathroom. Before he can even react, the door swings open. His friend's dad is wide awake, standing there staring at him. Get out. Okay, I'm going back to sleep. No. Get out of my house. Alright. It was 2 a.m. He had to call his parents, wake them up, and they had to come get him. He told his parents what happened, and they never let him go to his best friend's house ever again. So one day in 8th grade, the school had a fire drill. Pretty normal, the alarm goes off, and the teacher lines everybody up. But this one kid, he had a plan. I have a plan. See, earlier that week, the teacher said something that gave him an idea. If there's ever a fire class, you should only take the essentials, okay? So, while everyone walked out with nothing, this kid sprinted out carrying his entire desk, chair included. He was full speed hauling it through the hallway. "Hey, why are you taking your desk? Young man, what are you doing?" And he just yelled back, "It's an essential!" And then outside, while the whole school stood in the parking lot, he sat down at his desk, like it was a normal school day. He started pulling out his notebooks and he was taking fake notes. The kid was a real comedian. Everyone was dying of laughter. Teachers were too confused to even yell at him. And then when the principal finally came over and asked, "Hi, what are you doing?" he just shrugged and said, "I thought we were evacuating, so I evacuated my education." Okay. And after that, every single fire drill, someone tried to take something bigger out with them. It became this crazy thing that people were doing, until one day the principal got on the intercom and begged, "During fire drills, students, please, stop taking the furniture outside with you. Please." Honestly, that kid's a legend. Sometimes teachers suck. The person that shared this story said that when she was in high school, she was one of the best art students in the school. Well, one of the assignments was that they had to design something on the computer and email it to the teacher. Well, one day in a different class, she was called down to the office.
Kayla Anderson, please come to the principal's office.
In the office was her principal, Kayla, have a seat, and her art teacher. "Hi, Kayla."
Hi, what's going on? Well, I got your homework that you emailed, the graphic design project. Something was off, so I ran it in a reverse Google search. Yes, and don't even try to deny this. We caught you red-handed. What? That's impossible. I made that myself. Oh, did you? Mm-hmm. Well, how come I found it on a random artist website? What is the website? Not like it matters. Read me the website. Okay, whatever. You plagiarized your project from KaylaJohnsonArt.com. Yeah, that's my website, you...
One day the school had a guest speaker come for an assembly. The whole school was packed into the gym. Hundreds of students, everyone bored out of their mind. The speaker was some local business guy, and all he was going to be doing was talking about leadership and hard work. Nobody was paying attention until about 20 minutes in, a student, let's call him Kevin, stood up. Excuse me! The entire gym went silent. Everyone looked at him. Even the speaker stopped mid-sentence. And in a serious, confident voice, the kid says, "I have a question." Yeah, totally. What's your question?" And then Kevin, without hesitation, asked, "Would you rather fight a gorilla once a year but you get a sword? Or have to fight a chicken every time you open a door forever?" The entire gym lost it. The teachers were stunned. The speaker stood there processing. Finally, I think I'd take the gorilla." And Kevin just nodded. Respectable choice. And he sat back down. Well, as you can imagine, the entire assembly was completely derailed. For the next 10 minutes, students were arguing about the gorilla or the chicken. The gorilla's the obvious choice. I mean, what are you gonna do? Every single time you open a door, you gotta fight a chicken? I just won't open doors, you idiot. Like, that's realistic. How are you gonna go forever without opening doors? The principal finally got on the mic. "Everybody shut up!" And the assembly was cut short right then and there. And after that, the "would you rather fight a gorilla or a chicken" became the most debated question in this school's history. People were making posters and hanging them on the wall. Gorilla versus chicken. Kevin never really said anything about it after that day. But for the rest of high school, people would walk past him in the hall and just whisper, "Hey Kevin, respectable choice." And that's how he became a legend. So this one high school had a basement. Students didn't really know it existed. It was used for maintenance, storage, stuff like that, and it was always locked. Well, one day, this kid, let's call him Jake, was wandering around the school during his free period when he noticed the door to the basement was kind of ajar. The janitor forgot to lock it, so he goes down there. It was a huge, dusty storage room. Old desks, broken chairs, random junk everywhere. But in the middle of the room, there was this tiny metal box that caught his attention. What is that? So he opens it. Inside the box was a single envelope. He picked it up, felt something inside, and he looked. And what he found in there would make his stomach drop. Oh my God. Inside the envelope was an old student ID. The photo was faded. The name was a name he did not recognize, and the date on it, 1986. Underneath the ID was a set of car keys, and underneath the car keys, a newspaper clipping. The headline, "High school senior still missing, car found abandoned in school parking lot." He slammed the box shut and ran the heck up the stairs. He was getting out of there. He tried telling a teacher what he saw. The teacher was kind of curious, so she went to the basement door, but it was locked. The janitor walks up. "Hi, can I help you?" "Yeah, one of my students was curious about something in here. Do you mind if I come down here and take a look? Looking for like a metal box or something?" "Oh, sure. Yeah." She goes down there, but there wasn't a metal box to be found anywhere. She thanks the janitor, goes back upstairs, and tells the student, "I don't know what you saw, but there's nothing down there right now, so it must have been your imagination or something. Go to class." But deep down, he knows he came across something very sinister that day. "Hey, you're the guy selling the dresser, right?" "Yes, sir, $40 and it's yours." This guy was scrolling through Craigslist, looking for some cheap furniture, when he found a solid wooden dresser that he really liked. He meets up with the seller, pays him, and hauls the dresser home. Everything seems totally normal, until he opened up the first drawer. "What the heck is this?" And inside that drawer was a Ziploc bag full of teeth. Human teeth. And not just like a couple of teeth. We're talking dozens. Different sizes, shapes, colors, some old and yellow, others perfectly white. "What is this?" He immediately calls the seller. "Hey, yeah, hi, so what's in this dresser?" "Oh, you found the teeth, huh?" "Yes, I found the teeth. Why are there teeth in this dresser that you sold me?" "Listen, man, my grandpa was a dentist and those are his collection, okay? A collection of human teeth. Okay, so why are they in the dresser?" "Oh, that's just where he kept them." Okay, but why are there so many of them, dude? This is kind of crazy. I don't know, bro. He was really passionate about teeth, okay? Now I got a Caesar salad and Love is Blind to watch. Can I go? Yeah, okay, bye. So this guy did what any normal person would do. He kept the teeth. Why? Well, just in case that guy's grandpa was a serial murderer. So one day in 7th grade, this kid got called into the principal's office. He had no idea why. He walks in, sits down, and the principal just stared at him. The principal asks, "So, you want to tell me what you did?" The kid's confused. "I have no idea what you're talking about." That's when the teacher walks in, and she looks pissed. "Don't play dumb, you know exactly what you did." Now the kid's kind of panicking. "I swear I don't know, what did I do?" "You skipped my class yesterday, but I know you were at school because I saw you before and after lunch." "What were you doing?" "Huh? Probably something illegal." But here's the thing. He was literally in her class yesterday. No, I wasn't. I was in class. I was sitting on my usual seat. You're crazy. I took attendance, and you were not there. Detention. Now, at this point, this kid is super frustrated. He already did not like this teacher. Now she's accusing him of skipping her class for whatever reason. So he asks the principal one simple question. "You have security cameras in every hallway, right?" Of course we do, yeah. For the safety of the school." "Then check them." The room goes silent. The teacher grows pale because she knows she messed up. They send the kid to sit outside the office while they looked at the cameras, and 15 minutes later, they called him back in. "We checked the footage. You were in class." "I know." "You can go. I'll handle your teacher." But as he was walking away from the office, he could hear the principal yelling at the teacher. "Now why on God's green earth would you make something like that up?" "Oh, I didn't. You better shut your mouth." "You want thin ice? You want thin ice?" Weird things teachers made students do. One day in 6th grade, this kid got to his math class before everybody else. It was just him and the teacher for a few minutes. And he was kind of anxious, so he was sitting there kind of jittery, but minding his own business. The teacher then noticed he was jittery, and this is what she did. "Hi, I want you to stand up right now, please." Okay. "Now I want you to dance. Just dance right there in your spot. Just dance." "What do you mean?" "Start dancing." "Can you at least put some music on or something for me?" "No." And so he stood there and he was dancing. He had no idea why he was doing this, but students were walking down the hall looking at him so weird. What the heck? "Can I please stop dancing now?" "No!" And then finally the bell rang. "Okay, now you can stop." "Thanks." He told his parents what happened, and they were super pissed. His mom went to the school the next day and chewed this teacher out in front of the principal. One day, this kid came to middle school with pink eye. He didn't really tell anybody about it, because if the school knew he had pink eye, they would make him stay home. Well, this was right around the time where classes were having some of their biggest tests of the year, and students were getting stressed out. "Oh, dude, I couldn't study at all this week. I'm gonna fail this test. Like, it's bad." I tried my best. Hopefully I passed, but you know. "What's wrong with your eye, dude?" "I have pink eye." "Oh my god, you have pink eye? Why are you here?" "Because they're serving chicken nuggets at lunch today. I can't miss that." "Dude, if you give me pink eye right now, I'll have it by tomorrow and I won't be able to take the test." "Gives me more time." "Dude, alright, $10. Okay, here." Alright, you ready? Go for it. Okay. Well, word spread, and that day, this dude made $350. The school got pretty suspicious why tons and tons of students had pink eye at the same time. They couldn't really pin it on anybody, and it was a win-win. This kid made some good money, and tons of students were able to pass their tests because they had more time to study.
Yay!
This woman had been dating this guy for a few months, and the first time she stayed over at his house, she wanted to take a shower in the morning, but she noticed there wasn't any towels in the bathroom.
Steven?
Yo, what's up?
There's no towels in here. Can I have a towel, please?
Oh, yeah, sure. 1 second. Here.
Thanks.
She noticed that the towel he gave her was obviously super dirty, and it smelled horribly.
Steven!
Yeah, what's up?
Can I have a clean towel, please? This one's dirty.
What do you mean? No, that's clean.
It's definitely dirty. It's fine, though. Just get me a new towel.
Okay, fine. Here.
Thank you. Dude, this one's dirty, too. Did you wash these?
What are you talking about? You don't need to wash towels. Every time you shower, they clean themselves because they're getting wet. It's like the same thing as a washing machine.
So you never wash your towels?
Never. My mom did the same thing.
What? That is nasty. That is nasty. This is not gonna work. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go shower at my own place.
Another stupid school rule, and this one's absolutely ridiculous. This kid's 8th grade teacher had one dumb, crazy rule. You were only allowed to use the bathroom 3 times per semester. Not 3 times per week, not 3 times per month, 3 times per semester. And if you hit that limit, too bad. One day this kid raised his hand. Hey, can I go to the bathroom? The teacher sighed. You've already gone 3 times. Well, I drink a bunch of water today like a human being and I have to go to the bathroom. Well, that's too bad. You should have planned better. Hold it. This dude was absolutely fuming, and he said screw it. A few minutes later, he stood up and walked towards the door. Excuse me, where do you think you're going? The bathroom. If you leave this classroom, you will be sitting in detention, young man. He paused, looked back at her and said, that's fine. I'd rather sit in detention than sit in my own piss. And he walked out. The entire class erupted. Oh, nice! Teacher was speechless. She even started crying a little bit. After that day, the school forced her to change that bathroom rule, and they launched an investigation into her teaching methods, as they should. When this kid was in 5th grade, his teacher had one really strict rule. She never repeated herself. She would explain things once, and if you didn't hear it, well, too bad. Well, one day, the class was working on a really big assignment that was due the next day. Teacher stood up and said, all right, listen up, I'm only saying this once. Then she explained the instructions in one long, fast speech. The second she was done, this kid, let's call him Ralph, raised his hand. Excuse me, can you just repeat that last part, please? Ralph, what's the rule? You don't repeat yourself? Exactly, so figure it out. A few minutes later, Ralph was tapped in the shoulder by one of his classmates. Hey, I got you, man. I wrote all of it down. Here. He took the notes, relieved, super thankful, and he started copying them down on his own piece of paper. And he thought that was the end of it, but it wasn't. The teacher came over and snatched the notes off his desk. Absolutely not. If you didn't listen the first time, that's your problem. Are you kidding me? Well, Jake just sat there silent, didn't say a word. The next day, the class turned in that assignment that was due. Once the teacher was done grading it, she said, you didn't turn anything in. Yeah, because I didn't hear the instructions. Well, that's a 0. And you're a... What did you say? You heard me? No, what did you say? I'm sorry, miss. I don't repeat myself. I mean, it was crazy, but it kind of worked because from that day on, the teacher went easy on Ralph, and she even let him do that assignment over again. So one day, in the middle of 3rd period, this one high school student stood up, didn't say a word, didn't pack up any of his stuff, he just got up and walked out. The teacher was stunned for a second before yelling, where do you think you're going? And without breaking stride, the kid just said, I've learned enough. The teacher was mad, everyone laughed, but they all assumed he would be back the next day. Except he wasn't. Not the next day, not the next week. But here's the crazy part, it's like the school almost let it happen. People were constantly asking, is he suspended? Did he get expelled? Did he transfer? Nobody had an answer. Well, one day, this concerned student went to the office to ask for himself. Hey, do you have any idea where Johnny's been? Johnny Stevenson? The secretary said, well, it says here that he's still enrolled in the school, so maybe you just missed him. He was still enrolled, but nobody's seen him. He didn't drop out. He was still a student, but nobody had seen him for months. Then at the end of the year, something even weirder happened. It was graduation day. The principal was reading names, and suddenly they read his name. Johnny Stevenson! Everybody froze. People were stunned. There was a long, awkward silence. Then, at the back of the room, Johnny stood up, wearing a full cap and gown. He walked down the aisle, shook the principal's hand, took his diploma, and walked out. And still, nobody knows where Johnny went all that time. Craziest things kids did in school. At one middle school, there was a student who would later be known as Cheeseburger Kid, and here is why. One day, right before lunch, he left the school. He walked around the school and found an area of the building that would be easy to climb. Perfect. He then scaled the building and got on the roof. Now, the cafeteria at this school had skylights, windows that looked to the sky. Once he was on the roof, he made his way over to one of the skylights above the cafeteria. He pulled a brick out of his backpack and then he jumped down. The cafeteria was selling cheeseburgers, and his plan was to steal all of them and escape.
Hey, somebody stop that kid!
He even punched a lunch lady. You stop right now! You stop right now! Well, finally the police show up and grabbed him. He bit the police officer's hand, and then he went to juvie, never to be heard of again. Dumbest things people got in trouble for at school. In middle school, this kid's grandma had just passed away, and it was his first day back after the funeral. This is kind of what happened. Did everyone turn their homework in? I only count 17. And there's 20 of us, so who didn't turn their homework in? I didn't. And why didn't you turn it in, Kyle? Did you even do it? You should know this. My grandma just died, and I was at her funeral over the weekend. I'm sorry, but I wasn't thinking about homework. Well, that's a shame, Kyle. I'm giving you a 0 for the entire week. Are you dead, Kyle? No. Homework is more important than funerals, as long as you're alive. Well, that pissed him off, and he lost his mind. You are an absolute... My grandma just died. She was my favorite person in the entire world, and I was at her funeral over the weekend, and now you're punishing me for not doing some stupid math assignment? Screw you! I wish you died instead of my grandma. That's it! Go to the office right now. Good heavens. He explained what happened to school administration, but nobody cared. He was suspended for a week. This high school made a huge mistake. All of the boys' bathrooms at this one high school were shut down by the school because somebody was stealing toilet paper. So they closed down the bathrooms until the person who was stealing toilet paper turned themselves in. Well, that's not fair to the other students. For about a week, the boys' bathrooms were closed, and the boys were getting very upset by it. How can they lock the bathrooms? That's super unfair to us. What if I had to poop? I have to poop right now. Me too, I can't take this anymore. I've been holding it in every single day. It can't be good for me. Boys, I have an idea. Everyone here holding your poops. After lunch, at exactly 1:15 p.m., stand on your desks and take a dump right there. If we all do it, we can't get in trouble. Spread the word. The second the clock hit 1:15, this is what happened. A total of 25 dudes pooped on their desks in the middle of class. The teachers were horrified. They tried to get them in trouble, but they could do nothing about it because the bathrooms were locked down. The school actually got into huge trouble for denying people bathroom privileges, and the poop incident went down in history. Dumb reasons people got in trouble at school. It was grade school and it was the end of the day. This kid got on his bus. The bus driver had to wait a few minutes to leave because there were still some students making their way to the bus. So the bus driver suggested they sing a song. Alright students, we're gonna be heading out here soon, but while we wait, let's do a little sing-along, okay? Let's sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. That's when this one kid said this. Twinkle Twinkle Little Star sucks. What did you say to me? Twinkle Twinkle Little Star sucks? That's it. The driver then went back to where this kid was sitting and dragged him off the bus and pulled him by the arm to the principal's office. Come on, come on. Yeah, Miss Henley, this kid threatened me. You should give him a detention, make him stay. I did not. Sit down. I'm calling your parents. His parents were then called and they were forced to pick him up. They raised this issue to the school superintendent. He then checked the footage of the bus, and they obviously saw that this kid didn't do anything that bad. In fact, the bus driver shouldn't have grabbed him like that. He was fired. The dumbest rules parents had their kids follow. When this girl was in high school, her parents had this very strict rule. All right, love you guys, I'm going to my friend's house. Okay, don't forget the rules. I won't. The rule was this. She had a curfew every night, and for every minute she was late after curfew, she would be grounded for a week. So if she was 2 minutes late coming home, she'd be grounded for 2 weeks. Well, one day she was stuck behind a train. Come on, come on, come on. It was one of those long trains. You know what I'm talking about. Well, it was passing for 10 minutes, causing her to be 10 minutes late, Marissa. Do you know what that means? You were 10 minutes. Honey, please, I got this. No. 10 minutes late is what? 10 weeks. Excuse me? 10 weeks. 10 weeks, very good. You're grounded for 10 weeks, now get to your room. Oh, God, I hate them so much. Stupid rule. What the heck? What's a pineapple doing in here? So in 8th grade, this kid had a crazy gaming setup at home, and he had the nicest stuff. He had a bunch of fancy controllers, fancy headsets, everything. Well, one day he brought one of his super nice Xbox controllers to school to fidget with. At lunch, his friend saw it and was like, "Hey, yo, let me borrow that for the weekend." Nah, man, I kinda need it. But his friend pulled out $5 and said, "Hey, come on, just for 2 days, I'll pay you." So he took the money, and Monday, his friend returned the controller and said, "Bro, I would definitely rent this from you again." That's when his idea sparked. He started bringing all of his extra controllers from home to school, charging kids $5 for the weekend or $10 for the whole week. Then kids started asking him if he had any extra headsets, so he started bringing all of his nice headsets to school. By the next month, he was running a full-blown rental service. Controllers, headsets, even an extra keyboard. These kids were paying just to use the better gear at their house. He was making $40 to $50 a week just by doing this. But then one day, one kid lost one of his controllers, and instead of paying for it, he snitched to a teacher. The principal then shut down the whole thing. But in total, this kid made over $1,500. You gotta respect the hustle.
Montu. Hey, Montu. Hey, Montu. আমি তো অনাথ হয়ে গেছি গে একেবারে মনে করেন আমার বাপে আমারে এটা কেমন বাট পারি হ্যাঁ তোমার আব্বা না খুব কান্দানি আমারে কইছিল খাসি খাওয়া মানে আরে বললা
সকাল সকাল তুমি আয়া পড়ছো চিল্লা কেমতে
কি হইছে হ্যাঁ আর থেকে আমনে পর দেখে দেখতেছি ফোনের পিছে লাগা রইছো
মুনবাজান তোরা আর একটা বুদ্ধি দিতাছি
কি হইছে বাবার কি
তুমি যদি একটা মাস পরে আইতা তাহলে দেখতা আমার আব্বা আনাম খাসিটা পাকে তোমার সামনে রেখা দিত
খানদান নাকি খানদান গো চিনা লাগে নাকি চোখ বন্ধ করে হারবার পাচ্ছি আয়া পড়ছি
দরকার আছে দরকার স্যার আমি কি ফোনে কথা কই নাকি এই এটা খায়রা কি করতাছো যাও না নিচে যাও কি হইছে বাজার
কি হইছে এই সব আমি পারুম না আমার দরকার হলে ঘর আচ্ছা যা হবার হইছে বুঝছো সারা দিন যে ধকলটা গেছে গা নিচে ঘুমা
আজ নামনের বাসুর ভাই আপনি
আপনার ঘরে
তুমি তো আমার পিলা চমকাই দিচ্ছ বাবা
কি যে কন্যা আব্বা মাত্র তো আসমানে চাঁদ লাগা
কিন্তু তুমি তো বিয়ার পর দিনই আইয়া হাজির তো রসুনটা একটু চেঞ্জ হইছে আর কি
ঘুমা বিছানা লাগা
খারাপ না হয় এটা মনে রেখা মন দিয়া রান্না করবো
আমার লগে মস্কারি চলতেছে এখানে
একদম চুপ একটা চাকা দিয়ে বৌমা কি কইতেছো
কুচি কুচি করে না কাইতে ফেলাইছি আব্বা আমার তো মনে করে যখন ডর দেখাইতে দেখাইতে আমি দেখেন আপনি কি করি ঘরে আইলাম না এখন দেন না আসমানে ঠাড়াল্লা আর একেবারে কাঁপায়া দিমু
আচ্ছা আপনার
তুমি রাগ করো না
রাখতে তুমি করবা খাড়া খাড়া চায়া দেও
আমি তো ভাবছি ডাকাত পড়ছে নি
এই শাহজাহানগর বাড়িতে ডাকাত আইব এমন কোন মায়ালাল পয়দা হইছে নি দাদায় পড়ছে তার দাদায় পড়ছে এবার আমার পালা আমি পড়ছি
আরে রাখো তোমার খানদানি রেওয়াজ
যা করছি ভালো করছি তোমরা তোমাকে রীতি রেওয়াজ করছো ভালো করছো আমি পারুম না তুমি আমার স্ত্রী আমি তোমার স্বামী তুমি আমার পার্টি পাইতে দিবা
আমাকে খানদানে মাইয়ারা স্বামীর পার্টি পেনা
ইউজ করেন দেখি রুচি আছে আপনার
আরে রুচি থাকবো না আমরা খানদান খবরদার একদম উল্টা পাল্টা কথা কইবা না কইয়া দিচ্ছি
আমি কইলাম তোমার মাথা একের বাড়ি মাইরা ফাড়াই ফেলামু
এই এই
তোমার এই অবস্থা কেলা?
আসলে আব্বা, ও আব্বা, আব্বা। আচ্ছা, যা হবার হয়েছে বুঝছো, সারাদিন যে ধকলটা গেছে গা। মন্টু, হ্যাঁ মন্টু, হ্যাঁ মন্টু। আমি তো অনাথ হয়ে গেছি গে একেবারে, মনে করেন আমার বাপে আমারে। এটা কেমন বাট পারি? হ্যাঁ, তোমার আব্বা না খুব কান্দানি, আমারে কইছিল কাশি খাওয়া।
সকাল সকাল তুমি আয়া পড়ছো, চিল্লা কেমতে?
কি হয়েছে হ্যাঁ? আর থেকে আমাদের পর দেখে দেখতেছি ফোনের পিছে লাগা রইছো।
বাজান, তোরা আর একটা বুদ্ধি দিতেছি।
কি হয়েছে বাবার? কি
আগে সব কথা হই না লই, তারপর তুই খালাসে যাবি। কবু মা
গেটে দুলা বাইর করে দিছিলাম।
ল তোর গাড়টি বুঝকা ল। সারা জিন্দেগি আমগো খানদানের সবতে